Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, headlines from our state, headlines from Mexico, to find out what's going on around us, near, far, everywhere, things that have to do with news, with health, with culture, you name it. And then we combine all that information with your questions, your suggestions, your ideas, all with one main purpose, that we can have a most awesome live here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. That would be either folks that live here year-round, or those of you who, for whatever reason, feel that you are here at heart, or that here is home for you. I am so very excited to get together with you today. It is Saturday, September 4th, and if this is the first time that you're joining us, we are harmless. Just let us know who you are. And you can do that by just writing the word new in your comment, and that way we will know that you are new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. Nothing major, not a big reception, just a nice welcome to Coffee and Headlines. It is great to see you here. Also, if you have something particularly important that you wish to discuss, or that you wish to mention or to have discussed during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q, as in question, at the beginning of your comment. That way we will take a look at it during the broadcast. In the second half, we begin, as always, with our news. We don't have a lot of news, which means that we have a lot of interesting stuff to discuss later on. Today, we have news about the COVID stoplight indicator, and these are good news for our state. We also have news about the emergency funds that Governor Alfaro is hoping to have access to help fix or repair all these damages created by Hurricane Nora. We have news about Rivera Cuale, the building, and later on in the broadcast, after the weather, we try to answer the question, why are we in Mexico? And before you think it's a big polemic or something, it has to do with the name. You know, why is Mexico called Mexico and not chilaquiles or tortilla or something? We'll dive into a little bit of Mexican history in anticipation of the fact that this is September, and September is the Mexican Independence Month, so we might as well get a little better acquainted with a few basics. That's what we're going to have today. But first, let us take a look at the news. Oh, and please don't let me forget to tell you why on earth I got up so fracking early this morning. I'll fill you in on what I was up to at 6 o'clock in the morning today. But first, the national COVID-19 stoplight indicator was updated, bringing good news to many states in the country, including the state of Jalisco and Nayarit, which are back in the yellow. Yay! We went from being in the green to being in the red, and then we switched to the orange, and now we're back in yellow. There are now no states in red, and both Chihuahua and Chiapas are in the green. Colima, just south of us, remains in the orange, which is not good news for them. But we are in the yellow. This means that things must be getting better, and that is very, very good news. However, we are still under the same mandates to wear our face mask everywhere. Please don't forget that. And to keep safe distance, all the basic stuff is still there so that we can continue abiding by these expectations. Moving right along, we reported yesterday on Governor Alfaro's visit to Puerto Vallarta, and now he has gone online on his Facebook channel to announce that the state of Jalisco will declare a federal emergency in order to be eligible for federal funds that will help repair the damages that Hurricane Nora caused in 18 municipalities. We think of ourselves as being the only place that got damaged. And no, there are 18 municipalities in the state that were severely damaged, including our own municipality of Puerto Vallarta, at the tune of 350 million pesos. Governor Alfaro was quick to remind the population and the government that whenever we've had natural disasters, the state has been able to take care of itself, but not this time. So the governor is proudly reaching out to the federal government saying, hey, you guys, we've been self-sufficient, but now we need your help because we don't have this kind of money in the state. So we will continue to watch this piece of news to find out exactly what the response of the federal government is at Governor Alfaro's request to have access to emergency funds. There were some grumblings online yesterday because apparently the nice folks at Rivera Cuale condominiums introduced heavy machinery into the river, sending the message that they are building something or maybe they are cleaning up. We don't know for sure because they haven't released any kind of statements after the hurricane. But what we do know is that just a few months ago, they had shown indication of starting to build more buildings. And now Governor Alfaro is intent on having the construction permits for the building investigated. So we are going to keep our eye on this. Not that we wish any harm to the nice folks that live in this building, but the fact is that the building was originally built either on federal grounds or too close for comfort to federal grounds. Federal property is not some place that you can actually go and build something. So it is interesting to see that we don't know what's going to happen there. Certainly, I hope that the building can be functional because it's already there. I seriously doubt that they will want to tear it down. But it is comforting, at least to me, to see that the government is keeping a closer watch on the different permits that are made available to developers of real estate properties, so that we can live in a city that follows these guidelines more closely. Okay, and that's news that we have. And I'll answer some of your questions. I'm seeing some comments coming in. We will take a look at them in the second half of the broadcast. Let us now jump over to the weather just to see what we can expect for this weekend. Our weather friend tells, I can confirm that the human who plays Roy Kent is in fact a completely real, normal human man. Nothing to see here. I think that has something to do with a character on a television series that I saw. Now people think that he is artificially created, but I'm not even watching the show, so I don't even know exactly what that is about. What I do know is that Carrot Weather tells us that we are enjoying a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius right now. It feels like 30 degrees, and our humidity is very high at 97%. Our weather forecast for today, rain starting in the afternoon with light variable winds with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 24. Tomorrow, Sunday, we can expect rain and humidity through the day, high temperature of 32, low temperature of 24. And on Monday, rain It'll rain overnight the night before. We'll have rain until morning, starting again in the evening with light and variable winds, high temperature of 31, low temperature of 23. Not bad at all. So, let us talk a little bit about Mexico for a second. Let me get myself all set up here because, again, as I mentioned, this is our the character on the TV series Ted Lasso. Thank you. Yeah, I knew that I had just read about this. It is our Mexico, our Mes de la Patria, our Independence Month here in Mexico. We celebrate independence on September 16, 15 at night, 16 in the morning. And I figured since we're not going to have any kind of open festivities, we're going to start talking a little bit about Mexico. And we're starting with a very simple question. Why Mexico? I mean, why do we call it Mexico? Why do we not call it Tortillaville? Where did this come from? So we are going to talk a little bit about this, and for starters, we're going to take a quick look at this archaeological chingadera, this rock carving that I'm going to show you. You can see it in person if you were to travel to Mexico City and visit the glorious Anthropology Museum. But what's important here is that you're looking at the only archaeological evidence of this business of an eagle standing on a cactus eating a snake. And this symbol becomes central and pivotal in the foundation of Mexico. So we are going to talk a little bit about this, what it means. We may have talked about this before. This may be news to you, but please know that for starters, let us remember, I'm blocking a nice Aztec. Let us not do that. Let us remember that the Aztecs were a nomadic culture that was, going from one place to another throughout the country until they were told by one of their gods that they should settle wherever they happened upon an eagle standing on a cactus while having a snake for supper. Of course, the Aztecs said, no problem, we'll keep our eyes open until they found this place where they found the eagle munching away, but she was happening to stand. Well, I don't know if it was a she-eagle or a he-eagle, but that's irrelevant. The eagle was standing on a cactus eating a snake, but that cactus was in the middle of a lake. So this is why the Aztecs said, no worries, we can do this. And they proceeded to build a floating city in what is now known as Mexico City. Remnants of this way of life still exist. If you look at this major entryway, for example, some of these major lanes leading to the downtown area of the city still exist in Mexico City, such as Calzada de Tlalpan, for example. It is the modern version of what used to be. Remnants of this way of life still exist also in Xochimilco, where there are the floating gardens, floating crops, or chinampas are still used as a way to do agricultural work. And of course, all that liquid under the city has served as a cushion for of our history whenever earthquakes come. The downside of that shock absorbent is that Mexico City sinks on an ongoing basis at the tune of approximately 50 centimeters per year. If you walk around downtown Mexico City, you would notice that. It's very, very evident around certain large buildings, such as the Fine Arts Palace. But back to the Aztecs. Who gave them the memo to settle where they found the snake? Who gave them the memo to actually come and settle where they did? Well, the news came from Huitzilopochtli, and I'm going to say that again, Huitzilopochtli. You can try that on your own. He is the Aztecs' deity of war, sun, human sacrifice, and of course the patron of the city of Tenochtitlan. He was the tribal god of the Aztecs, or Mexicas, as they are also known, and we will get into why they're called Mexicas in a second. But anyhow, it was Huitzilopochtli, the god of war, who sent the memo to the wandering Aztecs to settle where they found this eagle. But was Huitzilopochtli actually a god or was he a human? We really don't know. There is some information that goes one way and some information that goes the other. What you should know is that there was this dude called Meshitli, and depending on who you ask or what you've read, he was an Aztec leader and nothing more. But some people refer to him as Huitzilopochtli himself. So this is where the history does not give us an accurate indication as to whether Huitzilopochtli was a human so awesome that the Aztecs saw him as a god, or Mexitli was just this leader that was good for getting things done, among the Aztecs. So and this is one of the reasons why we think the Aztecs are called Mexicas, because the term refers quite possibly to those that followed Mexicli. So what has this got to do with the name? Well, there are two theories at play here. The first one is that the name Mexico comes from three Nahuatl terms, one of them being Mextli, which means moon, the second one being Xictli, which means belly button or ombligo, and the term Co, which indicates that someone is from this place. So for some people, particularly some of the more esoteric researchers, Mexico is Mexico because it means that we are, or the Aztecs went to the belly of the moon, which one could think of as the center of the universe, but we don't have time to go into such esoteric ideas. Or it could also mean that the name Mexico came from Mexitli, who was this go-getter that we just described, and historians cannot seem to get into some sort of agreement. What we do know, though, is that this business of the eagle, well, as we saw earlier, there are many historical indications that the symbol was used since Aztec times. Here's another one of such indications. The first Spanish warriors started using the symbol as they built their own armies and so forth and so on. And of course, the symbol is heavily used in our coins, and because it is the national symbol of Mexico. By the way, if you notice the words Estados Unidos Mexicanos on that first coin, or Mexican United States, it is because this has been the official name of Mexico since the Constitution of 1824. And because I'm sure you're going to ask, or maybe you're not, maybe I thought you might, the colors of Mexico: green stands for hope, white stands for unity, and red stands for the blood of the national heroes. And that, my friends, is a little bit of an overview of basic terms from Mexico's history. The end. And with that out of the way, let us take a quick look at your comments and questions, and let's see what everybody is up to on this beautiful Saturday morning. I will start by saying that I was up at 5:30 in the morning because I had to get to the blood lab at 7 o'clock in the morning to get my blood analysis done for my heart doctor to tell me that I am absolutely fabulous. So I got up really early this morning. I was able to walk to the lab because it's right across the street from La Comer. And boy, either I'm going to sound like an old fart or I don't know, but we take for granted so many things when we live in this city, and one of them is public lighting. I swear there were some parts of the sidewalk getting from my house to La Comer that were pitch black this morning, and thank God there's a flashlight on my phone because I was able to illuminate my steps. But I kept thinking this morning as I was walking, we've been doing these neighborhood profiles, and of course, the thought of walking up and down Alta Vista at a time of day in which maybe the street light is not working as it should, it's a little spooky to me. But long story short, I was able to get to the lab perfectly fine. By 7:20, I had had my blood drawn, and I was out of there. And I have to tell you, La Comer at 7:30 in the morning is absolutely heavenly. There was nobody there, so it was a really good time to go shopping, and that's why I'm so early. I was up so early this morning. I am going to get my blood results this afternoon, and I am going to be perfectly healthy. I just know it. I'm looking at many of your good mornings. Thank you very much for being so kind and sweet. I really appreciate that very much. Um, let's see what we have. Boom, 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 boom. Yay, more history and culture information from Paco. We're going to keep having this. Mexica asks David, well, I consider myself 100% if you're talking about me. Uh, is it possible to do a poll to see the audience difference between the English speakers, tourists like myself, versus the actual locals living in Vallarta? It is possible. However, it's not something that yours truly is particularly interested in. I am interested in this project being primarily a resource for English speaking locals. If tourists stumble upon us, that would be great. But it's not relevant to me. If you guys think it's relevant, I'll be happy to ask the question at some point. But at least in by definition, Coffee and Headlines is and has always been a resource for English-speaking locals. Um, and unless you think otherwise, we're going to continue being that. Truth or gossip? I heard that the Mascota Dam needed to be open, contributing greatly to the rivers overflowing. That is true, Tony. The Corrinchis dam had to be open because it was overfilling. And unfortunately, we knew that that would have some consequences. Um, let's see. David wants to reinvent the wheel. Jorge, there are three questions: visitors, part timers, and full time residents. Part timers, either you live here or you don't. If your soul tells you that you live here, then you do. Personally, I'm not, you know, curious to know about that. But again, if you guys are curious, we can certainly ask. Uh, I am so happy that Claude is chiming in because he is headed back. Claude and Lucas, dear friends of mine that are coming back from Canada after summer. So I'm excited. I would be interested in seeing them again because I've missed them so much. Kimberly asked the same question as I asked. What would be the reason for the poll? Is it important, and what would the response of the outcome? Um, Again, we'll put it out there if you guys are curious, but I don't get it. Let's see. Sue asks, "Is that building now tilted?" Sue, I would have to be standing inside of the building to answer that question. I've heard and I've read rumors. I've read rumors that the building is tilting, and it certainly does look a little tilted in the photograph, but that could be an optical illusion based on whatever lens you're using and what angle you're photographing it from. All I know is that the nice folks at that building are particularly quiet, and we don't know exactly what's going on there. Uh, what about all the tires they found tied together by the bridge? They said they caused all the damage to the bridge. Who says that? And what about them, Arlene? I don't know where you're reading this or where it's coming from, and it certainly helps us a great deal to know if this is something that you read in a reputable source, in which case we would certainly appreciate a web address or a website where you found this information. If this is something that you read or you heard while you were having your mani-pedi or something like that, that's a different story. We don't know. Let's see. We were told when we were going to buy that three towers would be built. Well, Mark, that may have been their original intention. And but again, whether that was a legal thing or not a legal thing, that's going to be researched now, I suppose. Hey, there's a new person, Kenneth Ashley. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name properly. News. Um, Hi, love the news from PV. Me and Lisa Lee bought a home in Fluvial. Congratulations. Can't wait until we come home for good. Wonderful. Congratulations. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is where us locals gather to talk about you tourists, among other things. I'm sure you will enjoy your new home, or at least my wish is that you will. And whenever it is that you're going to come here, I hope your transition is a well informed one, a safe one, and one that you are looking forward to. How far is federal land on the sides of the rivers? I have no idea, but I'm sure that if we do a Google search, that could be found. Let's see what else. The Leaning Tower of Cuale. Wouldn't that be sad? I mean, in all seriousness, if that building started to lean and it had to be evacuated and it had to be torn down, that would be so very, very complicated and sad. Can anyone recommend a Spanish tutor who lives in Vallarta and gives online clients to adults? I think you mean gives online classes to adults. Decided to celebrate September by getting serious about learning the language. Meggie, you may find that kind of information in Trisha Lyman's Facebook board. Um, Again, I don't know of anyone specifically, but if anybody else here in the community can give you an answer, that would be wonderful. If not, I am sure that Trisha Lyman's board on Facebook should give you an answer to that question. Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oh, let me have some fun. You know, when we're talking about history, let me have some fun. And let me be a little bit irreverent. Let's see what else we have. Has the conquistadors not destroyed most of the codices? We might know more about Mexitli. Um, well, I think that's true in many histories, in many stories of many countries. And I agree with you, Javier. Unfortunately, when the conquistadors came, they destroyed a lot of what was the way of life of pre Hispanic Mexico in order for their ideas and their beliefs to be the prevalent ones. But I'm sure that that is the case with many cultures. Um, we know well that history is told through the eyes of those that win it. So there you have it. Ba-dum, bum, bee, bum, boom, boom, boom. I love hearing about Mexican history. Thank you, Paco. Thank you, Eric, for enjoying that. Oh, that's good that the Aztecs didn't get drunk and change the name of the country to Celine Dion. Thank you very much for that, Gary. I needed some laughs. That is very, very funny. I happen to know that Gary is working on something wonderful that I'm not at liberty to discuss just yet. But Gary, who always chimes in our broadcast, has been a very busy bee lately, and he's trying to do wonderful things for our country that are beyond my own scope. Uh, and I'm just waiting for him to give me a green light to tell you about all the wonderful stuff he's doing. It is much appreciated, Gary. Let's see what else we have. Thank you for the history, Paco. It would be a great idea if you could do it more often. Noted. I will certainly do this more frequently. That's early. What time does the lab open? This particular lab was recommended by my cardiologist. It opened at 7 a.m. So again, I got there at quarter to 7, and I appreciated the fact that there was a separate entrance for people with COVID symptoms and another entrance altogether for just folks like you and I that are just wanting to get some tests done. That was part of the reason why I was feeling a little uneasy about the whole thing, but it was all good. Raymond, that's very sweet. Thank you. We could have told you that you are fabulous. That's good. But the doctor wants to know what kind of stuff is traveling through my veins, and I don't hold that against him. I kind of want to know too. Let's see what else. I was walking around town and saw someone with one of those dogs the Aztecs had. I forgot what they are called. So unique. You're talking about the cholos quintles. These are the hairless dogs. That is, it's one of the endemic breeds of Mexico. Absolutely, they're beautiful, beautiful dogs. Let's see what else we have. Do, 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 do. Show format for locals. I'm sure this has something to do with something, but I'm not entirely sure what. Um, but there you have it. I don't know. I don't even know why I clicked on it. Let's see what else. Dun, 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 dun. I beg you. Do you know where I can buy a pair of rubber boots that look like ducks? Oh, um, I don't. I don't. Try Amazon.com. I've never heard of such a thing. Rubber boots that look like ducks. I love it. Um, Read about the tires on one of the Facebook groups this morning. There was a picture. Well, again, Arlene, not to rain on your parade, there are a lot of photos that get published on Facebook, and there is a lot of information on Facebook out there that we don't pay much attention to because if it's not corroborated by substantiated, if it's not reputable, we don't know exactly what it is about. We do know that people throw things in the river in general, and that's not good, and that's just the way it is. And we also know that for unfortunately, when it rains, a lot of trash ends up in the river, whether it's trash that was intentionally dropped in rivers or trash that was not carefully put away for trash collectors to pick up, which is one of the reasons why our city is so intent on letting us know that when we throw away our trash, it has to be properly kept in a container so that it doesn't spill away if it starts to rain. Um, and as much as I appreciate that you read things on Facebook, um, again, we only have so much time in our hands, and we try to focus on information that comes from reputable sources. Um, Same thing here, Marcia. I see a lot of things on Facebook and they disappear the next day, you know, not paying much attention to them, unfortunately. Uh, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Diane is intent on finding rubber boots like ducks. I have no idea. I don't know why these are. I'm curious about, just like I was curious about the noodle god yesterday. I saw something online about a noodle god or a noodle religion or something. Let's see. Oh, Barbara, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. This is good. Well, I won't know if I'm healthy until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Um, let's see what else. Amazon doesn't have them. Well, if you cannot find something on Amazon, I need to find these boots now. Why are you guys wanting to wear boots with rubber ducks in them? Or maybe I'm not understanding. Anyhow, I think we are at the end of the comments for today. Today is Saturday. The only thing I have left to remind you of, which I forgot to research yesterday, is that our next neighborhood profile, which will be coming this coming Friday, is my own, La Vena. So Friday will be an easy ride, at least for me, because we're going to talk about my own neighborhood. La Vena is a tiny, tiny little colonia. Um, and um, and I'll get to tell you a little bit more about that. Diane is saying they are yellow boots with duck faces on the toes. Diane, what did you have this morning that you have to have this? And how does it relate to Puerto Vallarta? Please enlighten me. Uh, Great show and history lesson today. Got around sending a Selenahuatl to all in hopes you never run out of bitty bitty bonbon. Okay, I have plenty of bitty bitty bum bum in my pantry, and I intend to drink a lot of bitty bitty bum bum today. So, So that is a good thing. Um, let's see what else. I think we're done. Yes, I think we're done. Um, duck boots. You guys stumped me with that one. I now I'm curious. I'm gonna go see what these duck boots are all about. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of the weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's my day off. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, and I hope we come back next week with more good news. We can use some good news for a change. And between now and then, remember to stay kind, stay healthy, stay safe, stay generous, and of course, stay in touch. Have a great weekend.